Day 8 of New England Patriots training camp, baby. We are back here to give you guys another live stream here with live updates, play-by-play, reaction to tweets coming out from the media at training camp, videos, press conferences, highlights, photos, anything that comes in between, man. We're here to break it all down for you guys for Day 8. As always, make sure you guys go ahead and check out the playlist of training camp recaps because we have recapped the other 7 days of New England Patriots training camp. So make sure you guys check out every single day because you want to know the trends that are going on, right? Just because a player is good today doesn't mean he was good yesterday. Just because a player struggles today doesn't mean the guy did not struggle yesterday. You want to know the continuity on what is happening in all 8 days because it gives you the real look at who's actually performing well and maybe who's on the roster bubble, who could be a surprise cut. So again, shout out to all 10 of you beautiful people that were already in the chat before the stream started. We already got 32 of you guys on YouTube, man. Appreciate you guys for showing out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into this. Realizing now I didn't actually share the screen, man. Damn it. What a start to the stream. But biggest news probably of the day, so far, okay? So far, nothing's really happened yet. But biggest news so far of the day is Mack Hollins, okay? Mack Hollins has officially returned to practice for the New England Patriots. I'll be curious to see, is he a full participant? Is he a limited participant in any way, shape, or form? I'm expecting full participant, but obviously we will just see. We still don't even know the injury that Mack Hollins had, but he didn't perform at all in OTAs. He didn't perform at all in minicamp. He didn't perform at all throughout the first 7 days of training camp. He has been on the separate field where the New England Patriots players rehab who do have any type of injuries. So this is the first real look. This is the first real look we're going to get at Mack Hollins. I don't believe pads are on today, but we will see. We will see when the media releases that information if we do have pads on for today. No pads on yesterday, but pads were on Monday and Tuesday. And this is really important because Mack Hollins, I mean, yes, he wasn't physically performing, but he was still getting those mental reps. He was still present at practice every single day in spring and here for training camp. So he is getting those mental reps. He's been praised by a lot of these receivers for New England, especially Pop Douglas for the leadership role and the mentorship role that he has taken on there with Stephon Diggs. Keep in mind, okay, Mack Hollins had one of his best seasons under Josh McDaniels in 2022 during his time with the Raiders. So, look, am I saying that Mack Hollins is a 100% absolute lock? No, but he is back at practice now. And I do believe with that, the understanding of the offense, his connection with Josh McDaniels, that as long as he gets on the same page as Drake Maye, that Mack Hollins will make this roster. But I'm really, really excited to see how does this chemistry develop with Drake Maye? How long does it take for us to start hearing that Mack Hollins is making plays with Drake Maye in the first team offense? Now, all right, here we go. I don't want to get ahead of myself too much. But day 8, the guys that are absent, Christian Gonzalez still out now. Mike Vrabel did tell us yesterday in a press conference before practice started. So we did talk about this yesterday, but for those who don't remember, Christian Gonzalez is expected to be ready for week 1 against the Raiders, but Mike Vrabel did say yesterday that Gonzo will not be practicing at all this week. Now, this is the final day of practice, okay? So the team will not practice Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. They'll be back on Monday. They'll have practice Monday, Tuesday, joint practice with the Commanders on Wednesday. Your boy will be there, man. Your boy will be there Wednesday, and your boy will also be there Tuesday, getting my first real up-close personal look on how this team looks under Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. But Gonzo's out. Garrett Bradbury, the veteran center, we saw him go out yesterday. He's still out here today. Jelani Tavai still absent. I mean, at some point, we need to have a conversation about Jelani Tavai because if he's not going to return, he's not a guy that is a lock to make the roster, especially with a loaded linebacker core that has a lot of experience under either Terrell Williams or Mike Vrabel. So Jelani Tavai, man, not being here. I'm not saying he's officially not going to make the roster, but this is day 8 of training camp, and we haven't seen Jelani Tavai at all. And we didn't even see him in minicamp. The last time we saw Jelani Tavai was the final day of OTAs before he went down with that calf injury. So Tavai is going to need to get back sooner rather than later, or that job is certainly going to be in jeopardy. City So still out. Also, he went out yesterday with some type of injury. We don't know what that injury is, but he's not there today. And Antonio Gibson also not there. PUP list, Vidarian Lowe, the only guy we got left on the PUP list. So this team's definitely had some injury scares. The guys that you do see at the top that were absent, none of these are expected to be serious injuries. Probably Jelani Tavai is the worst one out of all these that we've gotten so far. But Vidarian Lowe's another interesting one because he's another guy that I do think does need to return to practice ASAP because, again, this is a new system. This is Doug Marrone, who's never worked with him before. This is Josh McDaniels, who's never worked with him before. And I want Vidarian Lowe to be my backup tackle before DeMontre Jacobs. And people are going to say I'm hating on DeMontre Jacobs, and maybe I am, but I don't want DeMontre Jacobs as my swing tackle. And right now, Jacobs has been the backup guy there, the number one guy backing up right tackle and now giving him reps at left tackle, which means if Vidarian Lowe doesn't come back and surpass him, then DeMontre Jacobs is going to be your swing tackle. I just don't like the sound of that. Just based off of what they're doing with DeMontre Jacobs, I would expect that when Vidarian Lowe does come back, that they are going to rep him at both right tackle and left tackle, which he does have experience at. And the guys who returned, Matt Collins, Carlton Davis, so that's a big one. Carlton Davis officially does return. He will be a limited participant, though, but getting him back, especially with Gonzo out, is huge. And then Joshua Farmer, the rookie, we also have him back, but he's a limited participant. So it sounds like he's also dealing with some type of injury. So that's your little update here for the injuries. So let's get into some of the other notes that we are getting from the media. Shout out to everybody in the chat. By the way, appreciate everybody for being here. Make sure you guys leave a big thumbs up. We got the Cape, my boy, back here. DTN, my boy Mick Goat, who let everybody in the Patreon know, or not the Patreon, but the Discord know that, hey, your boy's going live. We got John up in the chat. We got Ruckus in the chat. Burley. We got Cheeseburger Eddie in the chat. Oh, we got Edward in the chat. Man, shout out to everybody for tuning in. All right. Mark Dano is also reporting here that with Antonio Gibson out, Len Larson is working with the Patriots starters early in practice behind Ramondre Stevenson. So this is something that I've felt for a while, but this just confirms it for me that Len Larson, the UDFA running back, a guy who I said in the past gives me a lot of Rex Burkhead vibes, and I stand by that. If they do decide to keep 4 running backs, Len Larson is going to be the guy. Because I feel confident that you're rolling with Ramondre, you're rolling with Travion Henderson, you're rolling with Antonio Gibson. If they want to keep 4, what Josh McDaniels has done several times in the past, I think Glenn Larson is going to be that guy. Because they released Travion Williams, the former Cincinnati Bengals running back, yesterday. So they're kind of shrinking down this running back core a little bit. Now, Len Larson hasn't really done much up to this point. He's had some good moments, but nothing crazy. Really, the standout play he made was a negative play, and that was when, a few days ago in training camp, working as a kick returner, and he muffs a ball. So, but nonetheless, the fact that Len Larson is working with the first-team offense could be huge for him, but he has to take advantage of those opportunities. Let's see. Let's continue on here. Mark Daniels also reporting that Carlton Davis has been working opposite of DJ James in the Patriots defense. James has been one of the fastest risers in camp. So Carlton Davis working outside of DJ James, but kind of sounds like DJ James getting the nod here a little bit. They're really giving DJ James the work. I mean, this guy's been rising up. How many times have we mentioned him over the last few days? DJ James, the UDFA cornerback, about 6 foot. Nobody talked about him all offseason long, comes into training camp and is now working with the first-team defense. I'll be really curious to see if he continues to work with the first-team defense or if he goes back down to the second and third team when Gonzo does come back. But he's a guy that's definitely trending towards making the final roster. There's a lot of question marks on who's cornerback 3, who is the depth at outside cornerback behind Carlton Davis, behind Christian Gonzalez. Who's going to be your backup slot cornerback other than Marcus Jones And right now, DJ James is making a serious case to be one of the Patriots starting outside cornerbacks, or at least depth outside cornerbacks, I guess I should say. So certainly a guy to watch. And look, you never want to see Gonzo go down. You never want to see Carlton Davis go down. But with those injuries not being serious, or not projected to be serious, you feel confident in those guys' ability to come back as veterans, giving DJ James his opportunity to develop in practice with the first team offense, going up against Stephon Diggs and working against Drake Maye, I think is going to be really huge for the development. If DJ James is ever going to be something, then allowing him to get these valuable reps against the first team and with the first team defense is going to go a long way. Wow. All right. Well, guys, that's it. Thanks for coming to the stream, baby. Thanks for coming to the stream. That's going to be it for today. No, we'll have a few more things to get into, but Mark Daniels reporting here. That's a wrap on practice. So I just for reference, all right, just for reference, Mark Daniels reported just 1 hour ago who was absent, who's on the pup, and who returned. So this was like literally the start of practice. And then the guys had to stretch. They had to do their warm-up session. So practice was very short today, just for reference. But he says that's a wrap on practice. Patriots had a walkthrough today. So that goes with another report that we heard from, make sure I get this right. Another report we heard from Evan Lazar. Evan Lazar, who tweeted about 3 minutes ago, and I quote, "No competitive periods for the Patriots in today's walkthrough." Some interesting depth chart stuff, though, with... Ooh, I lost it. Some interesting depth chart stuff with Matt Collins back at wide receiver and Lan Larison more in the mix. We'll speak with Drake Maye soon, so it does sound like this team is pretty much on to interviews up to this point. But we're going to check out some other reports, see if we got anything else from anyone. But it does sound like this was pretty much just a walkthrough. In-stadium practice is going to be tomorrow night. So we might actually get something. So I said that they were off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but what I meant to say is that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's no training camp open to the public, right? So they'll hold an in-stadium practice tomorrow, which is usually open to season ticket holders for people in Boston. Usually those practices aren't much of anything. So we'll see. We might do a recap. We won't be live tomorrow for that, but we might do a little recap at some point. Just depends on how in-depth that practice is. Like I said, usually those in-stadium practices are like bona fide walkthroughs. Usually nothing happens. Usually it's pretty big for the kickers. Like last year, something that they did for the kickers in the in-stadium practice was they had all of the players. They had like the entire team circled around the kickers who were doing field goal work. And they had like this competition, and they had the players getting loud and getting rowdy, basically trying to recreate an in-stadium, in-game atmosphere. So again, usually those in-stadium practices are most big for working on special teams. So I wouldn't expect much from tomorrow, but let's go and let's look at what Mike Reese has to say. I feel like we haven't looked at him in a while. Yeah, look at this. All right, so just for reference, Mike Reese tweets this photo, says Stephon Diggs walkthrough vibes, all right? So let's just look at this real quick, because you see KB, you see Diggs, you see Kayshon Boutte, two of which are on bucket hats. One guy is just in a little pom-pom winter hat. I feel bad for all of you guys that showed up for a practice in which essentially absolutely nothing happened. I know for me, when I go, I'm traveling like 5-6 hours just to get to Boston and then back, the hassle in doing so. So I feel bad if anybody had to travel far for today's practice, but this literally just goes to showcase how much of a walkthrough today was. No pads, no helmets, bucket hats. That's the type of practice today was. But here's the video of Matt Collins coming out. So I actually I actually like this video because what you can see, let me pause it. What you can see is Matt Collins comes out. He's ready for practice. And the one guy that's right here waiting for him is Javon Baker. The one guy that is hyping him up, waiting for him, was his guy, Javon Baker. Why is this big? This is big because we've seen Javon Baker mature a little bit. And I said that Javon Baker is not making this roster because he has a lot of maturity. I said he's not an NFL wide receiver until he matures more. But back in, it was either OTAs or minicamp, Javon Baker made one of the plays of the day, and he gets up, he's flexing on the defense. The offense is back in the huddle trying to run a play, and Javon Baker is still chirping, gets chewed out by Mike Vrabel later on in practice. But you had Matt Collins walk over to him, who wasn't practicing at the time. But you have Matt Collins who walks over to him, puts his arm around his shoulder, and just is that veteran presence for him. Said, basically saying like, yo, this is a teaching moment. All right? Come back better. We don't do that, right? You got to get back to the offense. And I think that moment connected Matt Collins and Javon Baker a little bit. And from what we're hearing in practice, Javon Baker hasn't been consistent, but he's strung together a few practices here in training camp. Nothing crazy. I'm not saying he's making the roster now. He's not really, he's rolled with the first team offense at times, but for the most part, still rolling with that second and third team defense. But he hasn't been chirping. He's making a play. He's going right back to the huddle. He's not flexing. He's not yelling. Makes a play. He's quiet. He gets up. He goes back to the huddle. And it doesn't need to be that serious. But even after seeing this clip from Mike Reese, it makes me feel even more that while Matt Collins has not been practicing, he's been very, very big for the vibes, for the leadership of their locker room. And if Javon Baker somehow makes this roster, if Javon Baker does anything, the guy that I'm giving the most credit to will be Matt Collins. I mean, just seeing this connection already, I think is huge. Shout out to just the leadership role that Matt Collins is bringing here in New England, man. The other thing that, after hearing how gentle today's practice was, for lack of better words, we heard that Matt Collins returned. Now, with that being said, we're not going to, he's not going to still be on the PUP list and then we're going to be told that he's returning. So I do still think he is going to be off the PUP list, even moving into next week practices. But how much of a participant will he be? Will he be a full participant come Monday? Or is the reason that we were expecting more from Matt Collins today, was that because it was a walkthrough? But nonetheless, still some good news that we're hearing that he's off the PUP. Let me get out of this video. Damn, what the heck? All right. Mike Reese also says that initial thought after the eighth practice of Patriots camp walkthrough, wide receiver Matt Collins is off the PUP and right back to the upper levels of the depth chart, slicing into some of Kayshon Boutte's reps. So from what it sounds like from Mike Reese here, in the very limited amounts we saw, in the limited walkthroughs we saw, the guy that is taking the brunt of Matt Collins' return is Kayshon Boutte. So Kayshon Boutte's been one of the Patriots' top 3 starting wide receivers. And Boutte's been good. Boutte's been actually really damn good. And so this doesn't mean Kayshon Boutte's not going to make the roster. He's not going to get opportunities now. But it sounds like what I am expecting to happen, based off of this report, what I'm expecting is that your starting 3 wide receivers will no longer be Stephon Diggs, Pop Douglas, and Kayshon Boutte, but it's going to be Stephon Diggs, Pop Douglas, and Matt Collins, with Kayshon Boutte at number 4. So this is going to have a trickle-down effect. Now that you have Matt Collins back, this is going to have a trickle-down effect to every single wide receiver on this depth chart. And so how is this going to impact these players? That's something that I'm excited to see come next week. But I feel like we haven't gotten into the chat in a little bit. So let's get into the chat, man. Let's get into the chat. My boy Ruckus comes in here with a $5 donation. That's my boy. You guys know it always supports the channel significantly when you guys go out of the way to donate. Donations always get first priority in all comments. So if you guys want to make sure that your question, your comment, your concern, good or bad, gets thrown up there on the screen and I have to read it out loud and react to it, then the way of doing so is by sending a super chat. So my boy Ruckus, appreciate you coming in here for a $5 donation, man. Instagram's blowing up right now. But he says, if yesterday's any indication, with Wilson getting all the snaps at left guard, how do you feel about having two rookies on the starting left side? I feel great. I mean, maybe that's a weird thing to say because I do understand the concern, because you're going from what we had last year with a rotation over on the left side, mostly Vidarian Lowe, but he dealt with injury, so he had a bit of a rotation, then a massive rotation over at left guard. So based off of how that went, having two new starters who have never played a snap in the NFL before, there's cause of concern. But just because you are a veteran, just because you have experience, doesn't mean it's going to go well for you either. I think that talent-wise, you have Will Campbell at left tackle, who is the best pure talent, the best true left tackle the Patriots have had in a long, long time. And then you also have over at left guard the potential of Jared Wilson starting, with based off of what we're hearing on how he's looked in training camp, that's also the best left guard that the Patriots have had in a little bit of time. So with that being said, I know they're rookies. I think there'll probably be some hiccups to start for sure, but you're allowing them to develop down the stretch. So if they're starting the entire season, they're staying healthy, the first couple of weeks, it might be a little bit rough, but as time goes on, they're going to iron out those wrinkles. And as the season progresses, they're just going to get better and better and better. The only way that they're going to get better, the only way they're going to get their welcome to the NFL moments is by actually playing them. So even if it starts out a little bit rough, I stand by it that I want those guys in the starting lineup because, they're the young guys, right? You have Jared Wilson, who's 22 years old. You got Will Campbell, who's also 22 years old. These guys are the future. And with a team that is as brand new as it is, the expectations aren't high for the Patriots in 2025. Let's get these guys acclimated. Let's allow these guys to develop as much as possible so that in 2026, we know what we have and we can really hit the ground running with the remainder of the roster construction, but also just in terms of development, in terms of overall talent. So I'm fine if the left side is complete rookies because, interesting fact, throughout 8 days of training camp, the best guys on the offensive line have been Will Campbell and Jared Wilson. And this defensive line they're going up against is damn good. Okay, Jared Wilson is winning his one-on-one matchups, going undefeated against Christian Barmore and Milton Williams. That's just a lot. Now, Will Campbell on the other end, struggling a little bit more in pass protection at times, which we did think was going to happen, right? Will Campbell is a developmental prospect in terms of his pass protection, right? His run blocking is dominant. That's where he's going to have his bread and butter. That's where he's going to be his most dominant. But in terms of pass protection, the inconsistencies, that's where Will Campbell does need to still develop, but he's performing really, really well still. So I feel good about this left side. The fact that those guys are already performing better than Michael Onwenu at right guard, who's been a poised veteran, better than Morgan Moses, who's also a poised veteran, I think says a lot. So I don't think this is the end-all be-all for Jared Wilson either. He's definitely starting at left guard right now, but there's a lot of football to still be played, a lot of camp, preseason games to still be played, joint practice. So do we see any potential looks at center for him also, right? I think Jared Wilson will start in some capacity this season. I think he's either your starting left guard or he's your starting center. But where exactly he plays, I don't think is solidified just yet. But this is the best I felt about the Patriots offensive line in a long time, and that is because of Will Campbell and Jared Wilson. Man, shout out to my boy Richie Fresh. Bills fan from the AFC East Roundtable coming in here with a $5 donation. Said, Kobe, my boy. Richie, my boy. He says, Dan on the TV, you on my phone, popped in to say, keep it up and have a blessed weekend coming up. You too, my man. You too. Shout out to Dan, who's also going live. Him and Richie actually gave me the idea to do this. So shout out to the boys. Shout out to my boys, man. Tell Dan I said, what's up? Let him know in the chat. Be like, Kobe's live too. I'm on his live. He said, what's up? But you too, bro. Have a blessed weekend. I appreciate you for popping in and supporting the channel, my guy. But my boy McGoat also comes in here with the $5 donation. He says, are you watching the Hall of Fame game tonight? And I think one more solid draft, we will be golden. I'm definitely watching the Hall of Fame game tonight. Okay. Look, I know it's the first preseason game. Usually not much happens with that. Usually it's preseason game 2 where things ramp up a little bit more. But Chargers, man. Chargers, man, they got a good coaching staff. They got some hype around them. They got some good players. It's always fun to see what former Patriots can do also. I know they have a couple, man. So I'll definitely be watching tonight. It's our first look, man, because keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. That's something that I say all the time, especially on the AFC East roundtable. So you want to see how are the Chargers performing tonight? And who do the Chargers play? Forget who the Chargers play. Who do they play tonight? They play the Lions, right? So we want to have our first look. We want to have our first look at what some of these guys are looking like because teams are going to have to cut a crap ton of players. 32 teams have to go from 90 players to 53 in just a few short weeks. And that period of time between roster cutdowns in week 1 is always like a mini free agency. It's like with hundreds and hundreds of players being released, there's so many guys out there on the open market that teams can acquire. And based off of their standing from last year, the Patriots will have one of the first priorities in free agencies that have to go through the waiver wire. They'll have the 4th priority because that's where they finished in the NFL this past season. So there'll be opportunities for the Patriots to get some good players. And with that being said, you want to watch these preseason games because you want to see, okay, who is standing out that maybe the Patriots could get. I would say start looking at offensive linemen. Right? When you guys are watching these preseason games, don't just watch the Patriots. Watch every preseason game you can. Look at the offensive line because the Patriots will certainly be adding some players through the offensive line that could make this 53 during roster cutdowns. Look at tight end because tight end 3 is still up for grabs for the Patriots also, and maybe even cornerback. That's always a possibility. They can always add another cornerback. So just some positions that you should certainly be watching. As for the draft, I think the Patriots have to hit on this draft. I think they have to hit on the next draft. And I think that'll be a good start. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all, but I do think that that is a good start. But I think that hitting on this draft and next year's draft is the bare minimum because this team seems like they didn't hit on last year's draft, right? You got something with Drake Maye, which is the most important. But other than that, Jalen Polk doesn't look good. Javon Baker doesn't look good. What exactly is Caden Wallace? We don't know. They drafted him as a right tackle. Now he's working in as a guard. What's his future outlook? We don't know. But even if Caden Wallace is just a backup, he's not a starter, but he's just a backup, I would say that wasn't worth a 3rd-round pick. So, again, with how last year's draft class is looking already, you have to hit on this class. You have to hit on next year's. Shout out to my boy McGoat, though, man. But let's see if we can get any more updates here. I know we'll have press conferences coming in here soon, so we'll get a good look at that. Where am I? There we go. Trying to find Twitter there for a minute. Let's make sure we update anything from Mike Reese, see what he has to say. The best damn Patriots reporter out there, man. There ain't no debate on that. So it looks like we have a video from Drake Maye, and we can actually play this. Let's see what Drake May's got to say.
All righty. Another day at the office. Morning. What's going on? You all right? Reporters on the.
Another day at the office. That's it. Just another day at the office.
Another day at the office.
I always wondered with all these reporters using their phones, like, do you pick up what he's saying perfectly? Or do you just get the minutia of training camp and all that? Always wondered that. But, all right, let's see who else we can get here. Taylor Kyles is always a good one. Not Taylor Swift. Yeah, even Taylor Kyles didn't report much today. Wow. That's how you know, man. That's how you know not much happened. Because my boy Taylor Kyles, he's on top of it, man. This guy's reporting like every 3 minutes of practice, which is, trust me, from someone who's had to do these reports at training camp, someone who's had to do these reports at like the Super Bowl and And the Senior Bowl, man, it is a lot to watch a play, have to tweet it, and look up real quick to make sure you're still watching practice. Like, it is a damn hassle. Taylor Kyles is reporting that Matt Collins is the top X early in practice alongside Stephon Diggs and DeMario Douglas. So, like I said earlier, it sounds like that is your new top 3, but Matt Collins officially repping in at the X. Hollins lining up all over the formation, now in the slot with Kyle Williams and Kendrick Bourne outside, so that's interesting. Okay, because we all thought that Matt Collins was only going to be like your starting X receiver, but this is fun. This is going to be fun, man, because I feel like the offense has been so, like, predictable. I mean, even under Josh McDaniels, dating back to, like, 2020, 2021, there was just a lot of predictability. But now you have guys all over this offense that can line up anywhere. Matt Collins sounds like he's not just going to be utilized as an X, but he'll be utilized as a big slot also. Kyle Williams not just working in the slot. Kyle Williams will work outside. KB can work outside, but he can also work in the slot. KB can be a Z. KB can be an X. KB can work in the slot. You have guys all over this offense that are not just one-dimensional. They are not one positional. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. They can't even work in one position, right? You have guys all over this offense that have that versatility to work everywhere, which will allow this offense to do multiple different things, but it also is going to make it harder on the defense to diagnose what exactly the Patriots are doing and what exactly they're running. That's awesome. Let's see. Taylor Kyle's reporting here that veteran Austin Hooper says he tries to focus on something specific to hone in on every day. Joking ball security is his current emphasis after Anthony Jennings stripped him yesterday. Love it. Love the comeback, man. Knowing you got stripped and said, look, ball security is job security. That's my main focus. That's what you'd love to hear from the veterans. That's all we got right now from Taylor Kyles. Let's look at Evan Lazar, maybe. All right, let's see. Nothing new that we haven't already talked about. All right, so Evan Lazar, not much there. What about Phil Perry? Nope, nothing from Phil Perry either. Wow, guys, like, well, we're checking every source, and there's really not much that's coming in here. Let's see. Mark Daniels just reporting that Drake Maye hasn't thrown an interception through 7 days of training camp. Well, it's actually 8 days now. It's actually 8 days of training camp. Today's day 8. Even if it's a walkthrough, baby, okay? This was still day 8. So through 8 days of training camp, Drake Maye has not thrown an interception. It is 8-day, correct? I didn't mess this up. It is day 8, right? Because yeah, I believe yesterday was day 7. Yeah, yesterday was day 7. Today's day 8. Damn it, Mark Daniels. He hasn't thrown an interception in 8 days. Not 7. Give my boy some credit. Give my boy some damn credit. My boy Fancy comes in here. Good to see you back in the chat, Fancy. $2 donation. Appreciate you for supporting the channel. He says, Maye will show flashes of being a superstar. Fancy, I think Drake Maye's already shown those flashes of being a superstar. I mean, do we all remember the game against the Tennessee Titans throwing off his back foot? Do we remember some of the plays he made with pressure in his face where he's throwing off his back foot, looking at the defender, and just a bullet pass into a tight window? I mean, Drake Maye's made some superstar plays already, but I agree with you, Fancy, that Drake Maye's only going to continue to show these flashes, man, because from what we're seeing so far this offseason, I mean, Drake Maye looks even miles ahead from where he was last year. But I think the reason that not enough people were talking about Drake Maye last year was because of the interceptions. Well, also the wins, okay? And I'm not putting that on Drake Maye per se, but the league nobody in the league talks about a superstar if they're not winning games. It's the truth. No eyeballs are on teams that are winning 4 games. If you want to be a superstar, you want to be in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year, like you want to turn heads, you want to get respect, Your squad has to win games, especially at the quarterback position. And that's why not enough people talked about Drake Maye last year. But it was also the turnovers, too, that, Drake Maye would make crazy plays that look like he's a top 5 quarterback. But then he would turn the ball over, and it would kind of diminish the play that he just made. So I think that's why not a lot of people talked about him. But as long as he can take care of the football and this team can start winning more games, people are going to start giving Drake Maye the respect that he rightfully deserves. He's looked really, really good so far in camp, protecting the ball. It's not even just 0 turnovers, but it's the fact that he's just not putting the ball in harm's way. You can't go broke taking a profit. That is the mantra for Drake Maye in the offense this year. You can't go broke taking a profit. It's better to go 3 and out, man, than it is to throw an interception. And I think if Drake Maye can hone in on that mindset, this team's going to put up a lot more points and games are going to be a lot closer. Myles Garrett was DPOY candidate last year with the bad Browns. That's different. That's different because that's defense, right? That's also different because Myles Garrett is one of the best players in the league for years, right? We're kind of comparing apples to oranges here. It's a little bit different, right? We're talking about a rookie quarterback, Drake Maye, and then we're talking about one of the best veteran edge rushers in the league. Let's see. Let's see if we got any more press updates. Not from Mark Daniels. All right. No, we got the same reports there. Same things from Mike Reese. So we'll wait a little bit longer and see if anything does roll in, because usually there's a little bit more for the press conferences. So we'll wait a little bit longer to see if anything else happens. But for the most part, for the bulk of camp, this was about it. It's kind of sad, but that was about it. Hey, man, shout out to my boy DTN for calling out the chat, guys. Okay, only 22 likes on the stream right now. Now, I know it's a down day. I know that the viewership isn't exactly there like it usually is because, well, nothing's happening. But we still got 58 people watching on YouTube, and we got 60 people watching on Twitter. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button, man. It helps support the channel significantly. And as I always say, if you guys want more content like this, then you got to make sure you support it, man. Make sure to leave a thumbs up, because the better the content does, the more likely it is that we continue to do that type of content. If the content doesn't do well, the viewership isn't there, the likes aren't there, then what it tells me is you guys aren't interested in the content, and I have to pivot and do something different. So if you guys want more live streams like this, videos like this, make sure you guys hit that like button. My boy Mick Goat comes in here and says, you already know I hit the like button, PG. Mick Goat, I would expect nothing less from you, my guy. As a channel member, as a leader here at Patriots Global, Mick Goat, you are a veteran. I would expect nothing less. You are a veteran. I need to set up as a mod of the channel. DTN, are you not a mod already? Oh, you need to step up. Oh, my bad. I read that wrong. My dyslexia. That's my bad. My bad, DTN. You said, I need to step up as a mod of the channel. DTN, yeah, man. You got the privilege of being a mod. Only very, very few people have that here on Patriots Global. So, DTN, another veteran of the channel. You got a big responsibility, my guy. We got Nikhil coming in saying, I smacked that like button. Nikhil, another veteran. I would expect nothing less from you. That's what we like to see, man. The vets are stepping up. The vets are stepping up here at Patriots Global. The Cape says, trying my best to be a regular. Hey, Cape, you are balling out right now, man. The Cape, you are the sponsor of the week here at Patriots Global. So, the Cape, man, it has been an absolute pleasure having you around, man. Hope we see you stick around. King reacts, I've been here since 2019. I'm getting old. You know what, King? That just means that you've been here. You've been here even though things have been rough for our Patriots, because 2019 was the last, decent year. 2019 was the final year of, Brady. It wasn't a great year. We didn't win a playoff game, but it was certainly still a better year. Certainly still a better year. So the fact that you've been here throughout all the bad years, still supporting the channel, man, I appreciate that. Miguel says there's 63 people in here. Everybody should be hitting that like button, man. Everyone should be hitting that like button. What's up with it, guys? Come on. Hit the like button. Hey, my boy SGT Moonshine. Saw you in the AFC East Roundtable last week. My man. My man says, I'm here. I'm here when I can be. What's up, PG? What's up, SGT, man? I know you're busy. I know you're busy, man. I appreciate you for popping out to the channel. My guy right there. That's my boy. And then we got Tyree coming in here, a new member of the channel. My boy Tyree, another big-time supporter of the channel. Tyree, you now have access to exclusive benefits now that you have become a channel member. You have exclusive to member-only emojis that the more members we have, the more emojis YouTube allows me to add, so we'll definitely be taking advantage of that. But you now have exclusive emojis to spam in the chat with the Patriots Global logo. You got the Patriots Global face logo, iconic for the AFC East Roundtable. You got a Mike Vrabel logo. You got a Drake Maye logo. And you also get priority replies in live streams, in videos, in shorts, everything we post, man. Hey, shout out to my boy Edward, who says, I go to the Roundtable for Colby. Hey, guys, make sure you check out the AFC East Roundtable. Okay, live every single Wednesday. We will be live every single Monday and Wednesday come the regular season. And I'll be honest with you guys, okay? Patriots fans lack the most in that chat. The representation, we are always last place, and we've always been last place for like over a year now. So Patriots fans, make sure to go subscribe to the AFC East Roundtable on YouTube. Every Wednesday, every Monday, come kick it with us live. It is a debate between me representing the Patriots, Dan representing the Bills, Richie representing the Jets, and TD Finstock representing the Dolphins. We break down everything with the AFC East Roundtable, okay? And we need more Patriots representation, my friends. We need it. We need it, man. So my boy, the Cape 88, just asked, how do you become a member? Because we just had my boy Tyree become a member, joining the family. So the way that you can become a member on YouTube. Now, becoming a member on YouTube is different than Patreon, right? So like if you want to come on the show, like we've seen DTN do, the way to do that is becoming a Patreon member. But if you want the exclusive emojis, if you want first priority reply in the comment section, then doing that is by doing it here on YouTube. And the way you do that is, unfortunately, it's not on the mobile app. But if you have a desktop, you can do it that way. And there'll be like a little plus button or a join button next to the subscribe button. Or what you can also do on your phone is go to Safari, go to Google on your phone, sign in with your account, look up Patriots Global, and you can also do it that way. For some reason, YouTube just doesn't allow it on the mobile app, which is so stupid. I don't understand. I don't understand it. Shout out to my boy Ray, another huge time supporter here at Patriots Global. My boy Ray tunes into every show that I'm on. Now that is loyalty. That is loyalty right there. Shout out to my boy Ray. $2 donation. Good to see you in the chat, my boy. Good to see you in the chat. DTN, we did have Parks return yesterday. Parks did return to the AFC East Roundtable yesterday. The infamous return. Wow, we literally have nothing. Like, not even... Wow, this is sad. This was sad. This was a sad final day. Anything for me, Mikey? Morgan Moses staying after practice to sign. That's about it. That's your breaking news for the day. Morgan Moses stayed late in practice to sign. That's about it. Any stats? Unfortunately, no. So they didn't have any competitive drills. So today they didn't do any 7-on-7s. They did no 11-on-11s. No 1-on-1s. They literally just did a walkthrough today. Tomorrow will be the in-stadium practice. So today it was literally just a walkthrough. I know. I'm sad. No stats either. No stats, no real takeaways today. Hey, man, shout out to my boy, Dwayne. DF forever in the chat, man. And you know what, DF? I think you're going to appreciate this comment because Nikhil says Bills fan, Jets fans. And I 100% agree with that. I will take a Bills fan 10 out of 10 times before I take a Jets fan. That's on period. That's on period. DTN says on Wednesday, which Wednesday was the joint practice with the Commanders. They're coming to town. DTN says on Wednesday, my goal is to get an autograph and a selfie with one of the Pats players. DTN, man, as long as you get there early enough, that is definitely possible. Honestly, the Commanders players will also probably sign. A few of them. So if you allow them to sign something, then make sure it's a good one. But he says also, want to get a photo with Colby, my man. You know I'll be there. My boy DTN. I'm always down. Anybody that's at camp Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll be there. So you want to get a flick? You want to chop it up for a little bit, man? Make sure you guys find me, man, for sure. But just trying to wait a couple more minutes to see if anything comes in, which I might just be wishful thinking at this point. Might just be wishful thinking at this point because nothing's happening. Sorry for the boring live stream here today, guys. Trying to make this as interesting as possible, give you everything that is happening here, but quite literally, I wouldn't even consider today a practice. Yeah, I think we're chopped, man. I think that's it. I think that's all we're getting. Wow, even Taylor Kyle's only posted one thing involving the press conferences. Mark Daniels, give me anything. All right. We got a little something. Shout out to Mark Daniels. That's my guy right there. He says, Efton Chisholm says that Josh McDaniels gave him a cut-up of Danny Amendola routes to watch. Ooh, okay. Honestly, that's probably the more realistic comp here for Efton Chisholm. Like, Efton Chisholm is probably not like, we all want him to be, but he's probably not like your Julian Edelman, Wes Welker. The role that's more realistic would be like a Danny Amendola. Man, shout out to Danny Amendola, who took pay cut after pay cut to stay with the Patriots back in the day. But that's what I feel like. I feel like Efton Chisholm is more likely to be. Like a Danny Amendola, a reliable security blanket. He's not going to be like a number one wide receiver. He's not going to put up 1,000 yards for you. But he'll put up a few hundred yards. He'll put up a decent amount of touchdowns. And he'll just be that security blanket, gets open short to intermediate. He's going to make plays in the red zone. If he makes the roster, that's what I'm expecting from Chisholm. I'm not expecting him to be Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, 900,000-yard receiver. Me personally. Something will come up right after you end the stream. Dude, it happens every time. Every time I end the stream, it's like, all right, yeah, let's break everything down that happened today. It's like, oh, you couldn't have tweeted it out for me? Pats fan, 124. Not 1234? All right, that's all right. No judgment here. But Pats fan 124 says, thoughts on Will Campbell during training camp? I thought that Will Campbell has looked pretty damn good, right? I mean, has he been perfect? No. Where has he been a little spotty? Pass protection. Where has he stood out? Run blocking. What was everything we said about Will Campbell heading in and coming out of the draft? Was that he's going to have limitations in pass protection, but he's very mechanically sound. So while he does have limitations with like arm length and whatnot, he's so mechanically sound that he'll be able to hold his own. He's not going to be perfect. He's not going to be like Penei Sewell, but he will be able to hold his own. There'll just be some inconsistencies, but where his bread and butter will be is as a blocker for the run game. And because Will Campbell is more fit and more slim than a regular tackle, he's got speed to him. His get off the line is phenomenal. And that speed allows him to get down the field quicker. So there were times this week where, during pad sessions, you have Travion Henderson working with the run game and the first team offense, and he would bounce it outside, and you got Will Campbell running down the field, providing key blocks down the field, going stride for stride with Travion Henderson. And I think that's why the additions like Jared Wilson, like Will Campbell are so important for a guy like Travion Henderson, is because Travion Henderson has speed. And so for him to make plays down the field, for him to be able to kick it into second gear, he's going to need blockers down the field, not just from his receivers, but also offensive linemen. And so that's why if you have slow, sluggish, heavier offensive linemen, those guys can push the pocket up front, but like they're not going to be able to get downfield. Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, those are two guys that can get down to the field, and they're going to provide key blocks for Travion Henderson, which is going to be huge for the running game. So Will Campbell, I thought, had some really good moments in pass protection in his one-on-one matchups. Hasn't been perfect, right? But he's really gone stride for stride. He's gone back and forth with Keon White. He's gone back and forth with Kayvon Chason. He doesn't look like a liability in pass protection. I think that's the biggest thing. But he has looked absolutely phenomenal in run blocking. And I cannot underestimate that enough. Absolutely phenomenal. And you see him working one-on-one still with Keon White. You see him working one-on-one with Morgan Moses still. Both things we heard coming out of spring practices. And so Will Campbell, he's not relying on his athletic abilities, but he's also trying to make sure that his mechanics are perfect, that his football IQ is there. He's staying after practice to work with some of these veterans. That's exactly what you want to see. So far, Will Campbell, I think, has been what was expected, has been exactly what we expected to be coming out of the draft. Obviously, though, we won't get our first real look at him until the preseason. That's what I'm excited for, man. Knock on wood with me, everybody. Say a prayer. Everybody stays healthy, especially on that O-line. But that's what I'm excited to see the most. DF says, so Colby, takeaway last season. Tough season to judge a quarterback. What have you seen in Maye these practices that make you think that Maye will take that next step? It's Josh McDaniels, right? And I know that Josh McDaniels gets this bad rep, and he shouldn't get this bad rep. Like, as a head coach, yeah, he deserves it. But other than that, as a true coach, of the game, I don't think that Josh McDaniels should get this hate. And it's not even Drake Maye that I think is going to take a leap forward. But it's so many players in this offense, because they'll finally have an offensive coordinator that is going to build continuity, because Josh McDaniels is going to be here for a long time, because there's no one, even like if this offense takes a turn and they look like one of the best offenses, no team is going to say, I'm going to give Josh McDaniels an opportunity to be a head coach of my organization. He's been really good. No, Josh McDaniels has had 2 opportunities already to be a head coach, and he failed. Years ago, during like the 2010s era, he had that opportunity with the Denver Broncos, failed. Came back to New England, was an offensive coordinator for years, got an opportunity to be a head coach again, joins the Raiders, failed. Both times ended miserably. So I think that Josh McDaniels is one of those people who's a great offensive coordinator, but will never be a good head coach, which is perfectly fine. There's a huge difference between being a coordinator and then being a head coach. And so I think because of that, but because Josh McDaniels is one of the best offensive coordinators in the league, whether it was with Tom Brady, Matt Castle, did he work with Matt Castle? But whether it was with Tom Brady, whether it was with Drake Maye now, whether it was with Cam Newton, whether it was with Mac Jones in 2021, Josh McDaniels has always provided a good offense, a top-tier offense that has excelled its past limitations, has excelled the players past their limitations. So I think even with Maye, you're seeing him take care of the ball better. You're seeing him put in better situations. Last year, Drake Maye didn't have a good offensive coordinator in Alex Van Pelt, respectfully. Like, I think Alex Van Pelt was a good quarterback developer, but he wasn't good in designing and leading an overall offense. So Drake Maye's getting a massive upgrade there, but he's also getting an upgrade in terms of wide receivers, more specifically veterans. Last year, a big problem for these wide receivers was understanding the playbook, being where you're supposed to be, and being a reliable player. That's something that Drake Maye has going for himself, and then an improved offensive line, which I'm not saying is going to be one of the best in the league, but it is going to be a massive upgrade from being the 32nd offensive line in the league last year, according to every single metric. Run blocking, pass blocking, time to pressure, time to throw, all of that. I think it'll be a massive upgrade. So that's what I'm seeing from Drake Maye. He's spreading the ball out. He's not just toning in on Stephon Diggs, but he's giving the ball to Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, Kyle Williams, Pop Douglas especially. He's giving the ball out to the running backs, giving the ball out to both of his veteran tight ends in Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry. So that's what makes me think Drake Maye is going to take that next step. Hasn't thrown an interception at all through 8 practices. And I think we're seeing him take that leadership role too. Really, in every single phase, we are seeing Drake Maye take that next step. And even too, I think at times, which I understand, Drake Maye just kind of ran off with the ball at times instead of allowing plays to develop a little bit downfield. And Mike Vrabel is making sure, and Josh McDaniels, making sure that Drake Maye doesn't utilize his legs unless need be. Now, they're going to have quarterback designed runs for him, so don't be shy, don't be worried. Drake Maye is still going to have opportunities to be a runner of the football, the opportunity to be mobile, but if it is a passing play, they want him to pass the ball. And so if there's nothing down the field and Drake Maye can do what Drake Maye does, that's a superpower in extending the play. If you're going out wide to extend the play to avoid pressure, don't take off. That's what they're teaching him. Don't take off until the last second. Don't take off until you need to. But while you're outside the pocket, while you're extending the play, while you're going out wide, keep your eyes downfield and try to make a throw. Because Drake Maye can extend the play. Drake Maye can throw on the run. So keep your eyes downfield and try to make a play. If nothing is there, then you run. And because of that, we're seeing Drake Maye make a lot more plays down the field on the run. Because instead of taking off, he's extending the play and then keeping his eyes down the field and making a play. Hey, shout out to my boy Ashton in the chat. DTN says, what are my thoughts on the new tight end additions in Tyler Davis and Cole Fotherham? If I'm saying that right. And so honestly, I haven't looked into them much, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't gotten to look into them too much. That was kind of my plan here over the next few days with the team being off, was to kind of look at some of the additions they've made and kind of do a little bit more of a deep dive into them. But look, they're coming in here on day 8 of training camp, and today nothing really happened. So they're going to be on the outside looking in. Who is, I got to look it up now, because there's one guy who did stand out to me. So it is, forget if it was it Tyler Davis? Yeah. Okay. So Tyler Davis, 28 years old. He's a veteran. He sits at 6'4", 251. I got to do more of a deep dive into these guys, like I said. But my first thought with Tyler Davis is, and maybe it'll be the same thing here with Cole. But my first thought with Tyler Davis is this a guy that has any experience at H-back, any experience at fullback? Because they don't have a fullback right now. Brock Lampy's on IR. His season's done. He's on season-ending injured reserve. So with that being said, who's going to be their fullback? They need a guy to fill in for fullback. I mean, Brock Lampy was rolling with the first-team offense. Josh McDaniels has always ran with the fullback in his offense. Who's going to serve that role? And we've been saying, all right, when's the fullback coming in since Brock Lampy went down? But maybe there's a world in which instead of them signing a true fullback, which is still not out of the picture, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. It very well still could. But I wonder if there's a world in which they have a tight end who can then play fullback. Like, I wonder if their tight end 3 is a multi-dimensional guy. You have Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper as your main guys, but then tight end 3 isn't just a guy who's sitting there on the depth chart, who's just sitting there on the 53 in case. But tight end 3 is a guy who can give you upside as a blocker, who can be a bit of a receiving threat for you, but can also play that fullback position when this team needs. Because then you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Now you're not keeping a tight end 3 and a fullback, but you're keeping a tight end 3 who gives you depth behind Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry, who have dealt with injury problems, but he can also be your fullback. Now, the only downside to that is that if Austin Hooper or Hunter Henry goes down, now that guy then has to play tight end, and then what are you going to do at fullback? So that's the only potential downside, but there is a way in which that works, and then you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And DF Forever says it perfectly here, right? Your tight end 3 has to be a fantastic blocker. And Akil also makes a good point. G. Scott can also be a fullback candidate, 6'3", 238. G. Scott is a guy that, and so we haven't really seen him rep at fullback. We'll see how practices go next week and see what they do. Because, again, let's keep going. Brock Lampy just went down, so we haven't seen the full mix of what they're going to do with him out. But G. Scott is probably the leader of the pack here for tight end 3. G. Scott has definitely made some plays in the passing game. So as for who do I think currently makes the Patriots wide receiver room for the final roster, you are just going to have to wait. You are just going to have to wait. And maybe this weekend I'll release it. I've been wanting to get that video out, but I have a way too early 53-man roster prediction. I want to do 2 of those before roster cutdowns. I want to do 2 of those. And so maybe this weekend we'll release it. Maybe this weekend we'll release my roster predictions. Let's just get Gronk out of retirement to fix it. Dude, I love it. I love it. But hey, guys, look, that is going to wrap us up here for today. We did about an hour stream. Usually we go longer, but that's usually because we actually have takeaways to break down and analyze and talk about. But today there really wasn't much of that. So today more of kind of like a bona fide walkthrough here on the channel. But then we also did just like kind of a big time Q&A. I didn't want to just do a 20-minute live stream and give you guys nothing. So today was your training camp recap for day 8, but also a little bit of a Q&A also. So make sure you guys check out the entirety of the live stream. I know some of you guys came in late, but we always keep the live streams up for those who weren't able to attend live. So make sure you guys go back, watch the full thing. We broke down the only notes that we got. We broke down some press conferences too from early on in this live stream. So check that out. Make sure you guys leave a big like on your way out. Right now we have only 35 likes, okay, guys? Only 35 likes. So make sure you guys slam that like button, support the channel. I promise it goes a long way when you guys do so on your way out. Subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news, reactions, breakdowns, analysis. Patriots take on their first preseason game next week with the Washington Commanders coming to town. Joint practice on Wednesday. I'll be there myself. So we'll be reporting live from Gillette Stadium with some of my own personal takeaways from camp. Make sure if you're watching on Twitter, you do follow us on Twitter and hit that link in the bio to come on over to YouTube and subscribe. Because if you're watching on Twitter, you only get notified when I go live and double stream through Twitter. You don't get notified when I post a video on YouTube, a short on YouTube, a community post on YouTube. So if you're watching on Twitter, come on over to YouTube and join the family for more exclusive Patriots content. But guys, as always, appreciate all you guys for watching. And of course, go Pats.